brave feminine leadership mean, and do you think it needs to change?
I don't think that it needs to change. I think we need to be cognizant of the fact that we need to take the time to speak up and never be afraid to say what we believe. And maybe it will be a contrarian view, but you need to give it. And you need to, I think we bring something to the table during this time. And again, I've talked about empathetic, but women bring a balance. I don't like working on a board that's all male or female or organization. And I like working together. But the piece we bring is an empathetic, I mean, we listen because we understand family issues. And this is a critical time for that. And being brave to me just simply means having the courage to say what you believe. And will they always listen? Probably not. But will they listen the majority of the time today? It is incredible. And men are telling me that women have added a balance during COVID and that they particularly go ask them now for their advice on some of these issues because it's hard. It's never been harder in my history, at least. And what I remember, it's never been harder to be a leader than when you can't get the talent to do the job and you can't retain those A players you have because everybody's recruiting the same A players, right? How you do it is you need to start listening, and women will bring a different set of advice to me. I heard it this week at a board meeting we were at in DC. We have two female board members on our board, and I just love it. And the other board member brought up something I wouldn't have ever thought about, and certainly the men didn't think about it, but it was just great. She had an idea on resolving a customer issue that was just outstanding.
What does brave feminine leadership look like, and do you think it needs to change?
So I don't think it needs to change. I think courage is a word that I think is directly linked to brave feminine leadership. And we've talked, without necessarily using the word courage a lot, about some courageous things. And when anyone is a first or a pioneer or an only, it takes courage to do a number of things. Having the conversation I had with my peers, it takes courage if you face an aggression to call someone out on what that aggression is, so that, and in a way where you don't want to get someone's back up, but you want them to learn and grow and understand, because our experiences are different. They are. And that's not an opinion. That's actually a fact. And so having the courage to talk about what these differences are, I think is connected to being a female leader, being a leader who's a leader who's a person of color.
What does brave feminine leadership look like? I know you've started to answer this, but really, what does it look like today, and does it need to change?
There is there's something about standing in our own shoes fully that feels really strong to me. I think it is, I think there is a resoluteness and a strength of women standing shoulder to shoulder. So I don't see brave feminine leadership. I certainly see it expressed individually, but the most powerful thing that I see is cohorts and collaborators and groups of women who are just standing so firmly in their own shoes and standing shoulder to shoulder with other women and saying, this is it. And it's not talking anymore about what we don't want and what the problems are. It is just being clear and saying, we're standing here. This is what it looks like. Follow us. We got it. We've got it. And no asking for permission, not begging for a seat or the crumbs or the one spot. Fuck that. Sorry. I couldn't. I nearly got to the end. But it's just we have what we need. We have what we need. Get out of our way or join. I also think it is a very there's something around the inclusiveness and the collaborative way that I see women leading that doesn't just feel good, but it actually creates more powerful leadership, because you can bring whole groups of people, whole organizations, whole populaces, whole voting blocks with you. And I think that's deeply transformative, I think, for companies, for communities.